Hi, I'm Ren.
I'm Sam.
I'm Tosh.
And
we're the T Swift sisters.
Welcome back to the T Swift Sisters podcast, a Taylor Swift fan podcast for Swifties by Swifties. In today's episode, we're talking Taylor and Travis in Kansas City, Spotify's Global Artist of the Year, and Taylor Swift making Billboard history once again. Here's this week's Swift Scoop. All right, so our first story today is that Tavis is officially defrosting for the winter season. Swiftmas is upon us. It's literally taking everything in me not to sing "It's Swiftmas time in the city" because I was truly preparing for it. I was like singing it in the mirror, ready to go, but you know what? I'm not going to do it to you guys today. So I saved you all my vocals. But speaking of Swiftmas, just a little aside here, today is December 6th, if you're listening to this pod on the day it's released, aka the 4-year anniversary of the greatest Christmas song of all time, Happy Birthday, Christmas Tree Farm.
You live and breathe that song.
I do, and we can officially proceed now. I will feel more Swiftmas Christmas Tree Farm era when all of my new holiday ornaments come in. For those of you who don't know, I do have a Swiftmas tree and it has the Christmas Tree Farm skirt. I decided today that what it was missing was my friendship bracelets that I collected on the stops of the tour. And yes, I added them to the tree.
I love that.
I'll have to send a pic. It was so cute. I was doing it and I was like literally tearing up like, oh my God, I remember getting this one. Oh my God, I remember getting that one. And she looks beautiful now. So
that's such a good idea.
Yeah. Just the culmination of eras and the bracelets and the holiday ornaments that I've been collecting. It's just truly like, it's become such a beautiful tree. I'm obsessed.
I saw someone use their movie bucket, the popcorn bucket, as like the base for the tree. And I thought that's so cute.
That is really cute for like a mini tree in like a bedroom or an office or something.
Yeah. I was going to do that with my classroom tree until I made it my cat's tree. But I had it ready to go and I was like, oh, I can make it a little like, little bucket for my classroom one. But Socks took it instead, which is fine.
He's also in his Swiftmas era, he needed his own Christmas. All right, so speaking of Swiftmas and the spirit of the holiday, over the weekend, Taylor and Trav were spotted at the Kansas City Chiefs holiday party at a Christmas bar pop-up called Miracle. The couple was reportedly seen wearing matching squirrel holiday sweaters. I will have to insert a little pic so you guys can see, but I just wanted to show you guys the squirrel sweater that they were sporting. And it's supposed to be a nod to Travis's now iconic misspelling of the word squirrel. He truly spelled it like squirrely. Like L-E. And I think also like the connection with, because many are truly calling it an invisible string, Taylor's iconic squirrel onesie costume. How cute is that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I love that for them. Like I love that little invisible string and that they're kind of honoring it and paying homage with this squirrel sweater. Whether or not it's cute is definitely your opinion. Everybody has their own.
I think we know what yours is since you said that.
How you really feel. It's cute that it's, I don't want to say like an inside joke, but something
invisible string.
Yeah, right. Like some connecting point between the two, but also like making fun of him for those tweets. He's so innocent. Like you can't.
I know. We truly must protect him at all costs. Like I just want to give him a hug. Like, that's it. Like, I really hope you're doing okay, Travis. Here's a hug.
Yeah. Agreed.
But speaking of, again, the most iconic Christmas song of all time, and no, it's not Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You. Christmas Tree Farm was playing at the event, which took place in a semi-private room at the venue. So what I really wanted to talk more about in this story is the fact that Kansas City Swifties and those who are not Swifties have truly been giving Taylor space. There wasn't a massive crowd outside the venue. There wasn't like people sharing, oh my God, Taylor Swift. They were sharing like, oh my God, Taylor Swift is in Kansas City at this bar, but they didn't tell us the name of the pop-up bar until after, and only because it's after the fact is why we're even sharing it. So if you want to be where Taylor was, you can go there, but we're not telling you like she's there now. But I think it brings up a good topic of conversation of how we should approach Taylor's privacy. Obviously, she's the biggest pop star in the world. And I think her relationship with Travis is truly bringing her back to like her Americana side. Like she's stepping out more in the States. She's going to more things. She's out more frequently. Like, how do we react if we see T in the wild, you know? Like there has to be a balance of respecting her privacy, but also like acknowledging like that it might be your hero or icon since you were 6 years old. Like where is that fine line?
Okay, so I have a lot of thoughts on this scenario of what would happen if we would see Taylor Swift out in public in a social setting. What I was telling Bren off to the side was I feel like I overthink a lot, and that would keep me from approaching any celebrity, not just Taylor Swift. You know, I would never want to interrupt their dinner, you know, whatever they're doing in that moment, whether they're talking to someone, maybe they're with someone important, someone they haven't seen in a long time, like who knows? Maybe I do like a little silent acknowledgement, like waving or a smile if we catch eyes. Also because I wouldn't want to be the one to set off, oh, there's Taylor Swift, because maybe what if no one else has noticed her and I just happen to see her first? It would kill me if like I caused chaos, right? So I just overthink a lot. I don't think I would approach in such a public setting. I would pay for if she did meet and greets and whatnot. Yeah. I would pay the price for that because she's setting up the situation to allow it to happen.
Right.
In public,
Okay, but like, so I brought up to you the idea or the topic that's been kind of circulating of seeing Taylor Swift at Trader Joe's. Do I think it's ever going to happen? No. But like, what if it's literally, let's say it's a Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. at Trader Joe's, nobody's there. It's just you and her in the aisle. Would you take the risk and be like, "Hey, Taylor," like?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, no, that's what I'm thinking of. But then I go back to constantly our interaction with Kaya Gerber at the Eras tour. And that was so normal. That was so normal. But like for me, it was normal for me because I didn't know it was Kaya Gerber. Like it just went right over my head. You knew exactly who she was, and like you were just so normal about it, and it was a completely normal interaction. If you had that opportunity to do something like it with Taylor, like would you take it?
And I get what you're saying, because meeting Kaya, we were in a situation where it was very low stake. You know, there wasn't chaos around us. We were near the bathroom, very low energy. And also no one else realized it was her.
Yeah.
So it was the perfect, you know, Trader Joe's at 10:30 in the morning with no one else in the aisle type of moment.
Yeah. The happenstance kind of thing.
Right. If that was Taylor, I would take it. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I could like I would want to be really normal and casual, but I'm not sure that like my nerves would allow me to. Like I can't picture just like talking about something in Trader Joe's, like, oh, you like that pasta sauce or something like that, and then like, oh, hey Taylor.
Is that how you would approach her?
Yeah, I would try to be like to say something like how was it Ren? Was it you, Ren? You didn't know it was Kaya, but I think one of you helped her like find a stall or something. Or am I crazy?
No, yeah, she was talking to me about like my outfit or something. I think she mentioned like, "Oh, I really like your outfit" or something inside the bathroom stall, and I just answered like I was speaking to whoever, but I didn't know at the time that it was Kaya Gerber.
Okay. Like I'd want to make conversation. I probably wouldn't want to say like her name in the conversation because of the reason that we've talked about. Like it'll bring attention. Like I probably would never say like, "Hey Taylor," but I would be like, "I love you, and like my best friends and I grew up with you. Enjoy Trader Joe's. Like, what are you here to get?" or something like that.
Okay.
I think too, like it depends on the interaction, like where we would, let's say, come across her, like if she's at dinner with others, like I would never go up to her. If she's like almost like sharing like an intimate sort of moment with like people, like other celebrities or people in her family or something, like I would never ever intrude on that. If she's like at Trader Joe's, let's say, like I probably would say something or acknowledge her, because it's just like different. Like I think at that point I wouldn't like interrupt anything. Like you're at a grocery store alone, like you can probably like handle a quick little combo, as long as it's not like, you know, I would in a crowded sort of area, because at that point people would already realize it's her.
Yeah.
So I think that's important too. Like it depends on how we're coming across, but I think like knowing us and our intentions, like we would never be selfish about it and like record in her face, take pictures, you know, go on TikTok live, Instagram live. Like we would never do something like that. But like if it's a moment of like sharing appreciation, like I'd probably do it if it's not an interruption.
Well, I'm glad that we had this conversation. Like I feel like people, number one, like don't really know how to act around celebrities. And I'm not saying that we do, because we've been around like 3 celebrities, and it was like literally at the Eras tour. So, you know, take what we're saying with a grain of salt. But I think the biggest message that we're saying here is to respect Taylor or any celebrity's privacy. That goes for Travis Kelce as well. Just because he's a football player doesn't mean that he is not a huge name football player. Respect his privacy, respect her privacy. Please, if you're in the same room as Taylor Swift, don't take like sketchy photos of her and then like send them out to social media so that everybody knows where Taylor Swift is, you know, like just respect is the end game here.
I'm glad we've prepared for when we meet her. So
yeah, exactly.
Although we all know that when we meet her, like if we do ever get invited to meet Taylor Swift, there will be so much blubbering, I think.
That's a different story.
I would like black out, I think. So whatever I do or say, I wouldn't even be able to retell.
Yeah, I would for sure also black out. So that'll be another conversation for another day.
That'll be our most iconic episode yet.
True.
So for our second story, as you know, Spotify season is upon us. Spotify Wrapped season is upon us. I had so much fun. Like I was on the treadmill looking at, you know, all the stories of my top songs, my top albums, my artist messages. It was so much fun. But what was even cooler was that Taylor Swift was our Spotify Artist of the Year. Of course, she deserved it this year more than ever because of the iconic Eras Tour, the Eras Tour film, how she released 2 Taylor's version albums in 1 year, breaking into billionaire status. Like, I feel like just so much has happened this year that she shared with us, like so many monumental things. So it was definitely well deserved. And before we get into the content that Spotify actually released to announce her title, I did want to point out cute little ode to Taylor that Spotify did recently. So if you go and play a song of her discography on Spotify, they changed like the bar that comes out on the bottom with like the song name and the time counter, and it actually changes color to match the era that the song is in. And then the little dot that like, you know, moves as the song is playing turned into a cute little star. Have you guys like noticed this?
I have. The first day that like Spotify Wrapped came out, I was listening and like I had the little change thing and the little star. But a few days after, I was listening to Debut and there was absolutely nothing. So I was a little bit sad about that. I'm not sure. I wasn't sure if like maybe it had ended and like some people stopped getting it. But I did see that people still have it. So I'm kind of hoping that it was just a glitch in my system and it'll like come back. But I'm
sad about that.
It is really, really cute. It's really cute.
Yeah.
It feels like it's giving like North Star.
Yes. It's very like holiday, but like on top of being very like, yay, Eras, you know, Artist of the Year. So I love that about Spotify. You should go check it out. But before I get into it too, I wanted to say that if you didn't know already, Taylor kind of like thanked us and celebrated her Artist of the Year title by putting an iconic song on all streaming platforms. You're Losing Me. We've been dying for this. Like the song just gives so much and is just so deep that like I need more than having to put a CD in my car to listen to it. So I'm really happy it's on streaming. So she did that. And then I did want to kind of touch on the video and the picture that like Spotify released to accompany, announcing Taylor as Artist of the Year. So before I kind of like touch on a few things, have y'all looked at it? Did you see the picture?
I want to pause for a second because I want to just like backtrack a little bit. I feel like we did not spend enough time on You're Losing Me and what happened, after. That was like my pen flying around. The Raisins, the post by Jack Antonoff. So if you are a new listener to this podcast, my pen has completely flown around the entire room. I'm sure you guys can all hear it. If you are a new listener to this podcast, when the song originally came out, we had basically an entire episode on season 1. I'm not sure if it's still available on our pod streamers, but you can look up the episode on YouTube. And we kind of dove into like breaking down the song, analyzing the lyrics. Great episode. But so much of what we talked about in that episode was when Taylor recorded it. And we had a whole kind of like thought process on whether it was post Grammys, whether it was a song that she had just written and then released in May. Today, December 6th, we know for 100% that Taylor Swift wrote this song in December of 2021. It was not 2023. It was not 2022 when Midnights came out. It was written and recorded in 2021 December. I feel like that has to make you feel some type of way because it made me feel some type of way.
Literally 2 years ago.
Does it change the message of the song? Does it change how you listen to the song? I think the message stays the same, right? Because what she went through doesn't change. That's right. One thing that's said to be true. It just kind of makes you think about where she was in December of 2021 and then where she was when the Midnights album came out. And then where she was personally when the breakup was announced in April of 2023. And then again where she was personally in May 2023 when this song came out.
It like extends a timeline that we thought was much kind of like shorter. Like it just shows that, assuming, of course, because we don't know, but assuming that the maybe difficulty, the trouble, the sort of like disconnect was happening for longer than we thought. Right. Because I almost thought it was like a last minute, like almost like addition to Midnights because of the recent development that is now kind of not as recent as we thought.
Right. I get that. And I think, and it's something that we've talked about offline, that relationships have ebbs and flows. Like some days are great days and some days are just not so great days. And maybe we know Taylor Swift is a very, very emotional person. She might have written this on just a not so great day. And that doesn't necessarily mean that their relationship was just like at the bottom until the end. But I think it gives us a view of the fact that like Taylor is kind of telling us like it wasn't up, and then down and out. It was kind of like we did have our own issues that we were working through.
That's exactly how I interpreted it, just as you said it, that it wasn't necessarily like this is ending. I'm writing this song to signify the end of it. I thought it was like almost like you have a really bad day, lock yourself in the room and write about it type of thing. Like in the moment, she just made this, based on whatever she was going through. And it's crazy because even though, the listening experience doesn't change because the song is a heartbreaker, I think kind of going back to the timeline, it's so crazy to think that like we were hyped on the re-release of Red, this was such a high for us as a community. Meanwhile, it, could have been a low for her, who knows, maybe from Red to the time that she wrote this. We don't know the exact date, of course, but just the juxtaposition of what we were going through versus what she was going through. And it's almost like, here I'm going to give you guys this, even though, I'm going through a hard time. I just want to give her a hug.
Yeah, I get that. And I think too, it kind of puts a different perspective on maybe how she was receiving All Too Well 10-minute version at the time, because like that is such a sad song. There are plenty of sad songs on Red for like the amount of fun that the album has. There's a lot of stuff that's sad about the album too. And it makes me think of like, obviously this is December, you don't know when the issue happened, that she wrote about it, recorded it, that kind of stuff. But like when she was performing All Too Well 10-minute version for the first time on SNL, like was she truly feeling those things to what she was living through? And it's like, we're so happy that we have the song like you're saying. And she's like, damn, like I'm now reliving this era of my life, this super sad song while like going through, but then also maybe that sad song inspired the next sad song, like it doesn't necessarily have to be all terrible, but it just like, I really do think it puts into perspective, like we were saying, the way that things work, the ups and downs, then the juxtaposition of what we're enjoying as a fandom, and you don't know what's happening to Taylor behind closed doors. Like we just assume like because we're happy, she's happy, right? And that's just not necessarily the way that things work. And then I just also want to touch on, it's literally just a quick yes or no question. A lot of people, there's been so much debate back and forth of people saying this song solidifies, and Jack Antonoff letting us know when the song was produced, solidifies that Midnight's was a breakup album. Do you agree, yes or no?
Like in its entirety?
In its entirety, people say that Midnight's is a breakup album.
Like about breakups over time?
I think one breakup.
Yeah. Like one...
I'm going to say the one breakup.
The one breakup.
The one breakup. People have said that You're Losing Me is the solidifier, is the game changer, is the one that says, yes, this is a breakup album about this breakup.
I can see it in songs like...
I was going to say the same
Bejeweled.
thing.
Yeah, like Bejeweled, like Midnight Rain.
I agree with Tosh where I could see it in some songs.
But we know that Taylor has said that basically Midnight's is 13 sleepless nights like across the time of her life. I think definitely I agree. Some songs are and some songs aren't. It's not a breakup album about the one breakup. That's it. Okay. I think case closed. She gave us what we wanted. We can't literally ask for more. Yeah. And that's the end of that, I think.
Yes.
I agree. I was just going to say, I think it's hard to say that the entire album in itself is about one breakup when like there's so many songs that wouldn't fit that time, like that kind of story, I think. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So You're Losing Me. Amazing that we have it on streaming. Insane that we got that tidbit of info that it wasn't, written, produced when we thought it was. So thanks, Jack, for sharing that with us.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you again. Sorry. I'm so sorry. It's just that when I went to bring it up, you brought up the raisins.
Yeah.
Do you have an issue with the raisins ?
Oh no, I just that also stood out to me in the post, but just because I think it was like weird.
I just wanted to know if you were a raisin hater or not.
No, I'm not a raisin hater.
Wait, why? Are you a raisin hater? Because people are hating on. They're like, "Ew, Taylor Swift eats raisins."
I mean, I was about to say, would I eat them like alone, like straight off the counter? No, but
straight off the counter.
I mean, she was drinking a bottle of wine. Like that's typical on a charcuterie board.
Yeah.
Soup's typical. Like you have some raisins with wine, raisins and picadillo for all of our Hispanic listeners.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a pro raisin queen.
Me too.
I'm pro raisin, but I wouldn't snack on them.
I've snacked on them before. I used to eat the little boxes of Sun-made raisins like in my lunch.
Why not?
Yeah.
All right, in the polls, are you a raisin stan or not?
Yes, well, okay, I'll add the poll in the end of this episode. You can tell us if you are pro raisin or against. But Tosh, now you may continue with the Spotify artwork. Let's do it.
I think they did like the Swiftie community like such justice with the artwork. Like I think they went above and beyond to reference like so many eras, so many songs, so many music videos, like so many inside jokes that it was like you could literally like zoom in on that photo and find something like in every corner. Like you could analyze it for hours. I think it's important that Karen is leaving the tunnel and it's right by the open vault. Like what's coming out of the Fearless vault are Seagulls for 1989. There were Sparks Flying, and then there was Autumn Leaves. So it just shows the 3 albums that have the vaults open.
Okay.
And then like under it was the tunnel with Karen leaving it, kind of signifying maybe that vault is going to be the next one open.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool. And then like Taylor's wearing the friendship bracelets of like her most streamed songs this year on Spotify. It was like Antihero, Cruel Summer, August, and Karma. So that was cool. There was like a Miss Americana with the
sash.
Yeah, the like friendship bracelet sash. It was just,
I love that she was like side by side with Red. I thought that was super cute.
Yeah.
And we got a visual of the getaway car. Love that.
Yes.
That was my fave.
It was so cute. And Cornelia Street and just all the things. It was honestly like just fun to zoom in and look at. Like if you haven't yet, I suggest doing it, because even if you're not like super into kind of like all the Easter eggs and like really deep into like the Swiftie world and all of that, like I think you're still gonna find things that you'll be like you'll recognize even from just names of songs. Like I think it was really cool.
Yeah, that's definitely like the type of art that we wish UMG was creating on merch. Like I think that is so fun and unique.
True.
I think it really deserves to be like somebody sat there, right, and had to hand draw all of these images to create one big image. And I think it was really cool too, the way Spotify approached it with the clues all over the world. Did you see that? That they just left pieces of the puzzle. So like on big billboards, like in Times Square, right in that middle, what is that? Like the NASDAQ tower, I think that's what it's called. They had a piece of the puzzle, and then like in Tokyo, they had another piece, and Swifties worked together to piece the puzzle together for it to say Taylor Swift is the Spotify Global Artist of the Year.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was really awesome. It's definitely cool, and we should check it out. I mean, maybe there's a way that we can put the smaller image on our socials or something so that you guys can see it too, but absolutely love it.
And our last story for today, Taylor Swift makes history with 5 of the top 10 albums on the Billboard 200. According to Billboard, Taylor Swift is the only living artist with at least 5 titles in the top 10 at the same time in the past 60 years. What?
That's I know.
Insane. The current titles in the top 5 are 1989, Taylor's version, Midnight, Folklore, Lover, and Speak Now, Taylor's version. The only other act to hold at least 5 of the top 10 at the same time was Prince on May 14th, 2016, following his death. That's history right there.
It's iconic. It's a real bleeping legacy. You have to take a step back and look at it, and look at the fact that 4 years ago, we were just entering the Lover era. That was like all we had. 4 years later, we had Folklore, we had Evermore, we had Midnights, we had Fearless Taylor's version, we had Red Taylor's version, we got Speak Now Taylor's version in 1989. That is 7. I just counted 7 on my hand. Since 2019. Like, we have gotten so much. The fandom has grown so much. So many new people are listening to Taylor's music. Just the change, the shift in time from Lover to Folklore, and then from Folklore to Midnights. Like, I feel like so much of life has happened. And think about what it's going to be from Midnights till we get TS11, if there is going to be a TS11. Like, then we'll have Speak Now, 1989, probably Rep, and probably Debut. And she continues to be, like, to have 5 of the top 10 in the Billboard.
That's insane. Because
so many different eras, too, like...
Right, and she's not taking like, we don't know how long she's taking to produce and release, but like she has, like you said, released so much in so little time, but they're all so successful that like the odds, like if any other artist were to do that, I just feel like you're gonna have good ones, and then you're gonna have not good ones, because it's just normal. Like, how is it that every album you release multiple times a year just off the charts every time? I don't get it.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of something to think about as well, that like her music catalog is truly so diverse. And that's why I think this is successful, because Lover and Folklore are completely different albums. Lover and Midnights are totally different. I think like they're both pop, but like there are different types and different approaches to pop. And I think some people like Lover more and some people like Midnights more. And that really shows it. Speak Now, I think, is still considered like country or country pop. And then 1989, that type of pop as well. Like, it's just insane. And truly, she is a pop queen if literally 4 out of the 5 on the top 10 are all pop albums.
True.
Yeah, she's definitely an artist for the masses because there's something for everyone to relate to. We just went through so many different genres, and some people claim their own era, and there's space for everyone. So she has created something where there's a bigger fan base, bigger support, more love within the community. And I can't even imagine where we can go from here, but she's so powerful.
Yeah, just think of like next year, let's say we have Rep debut and TS11, like is she going to be the entire top 10, or like is the top 5 going to change? I don't know. Like it's definitely evolving, and I think the Eras Tour has so much to do with it, right? Because the Eras Tour in culmination with the Taylor's version, God, she's so smart, right? Because you have the Eras Tour where everybody is feeding off of the old eras, but now she's also re-releasing the Taylor's versions of things. So her music is at an all-time high of people going back and re-listening, but now they're re-listening to the work that she's created. Like, I think somebody put up a graphic on Twitter where it was like 1989 Shake It Off Taylor's versions, like streams now versus Shake It Off streams now, and Shake It Off had like 980,000 something, and Shake It Off Taylor's version was already at 500,000 something, and the original Shake It Off was from 2014. That goes to show you how many people are listening and like how many people she's bringing in. It's just insane. It's crazy to me.
I think she's paved the way for like a lot of, like, I'm just curious to see like how the music industry will evolve along with her, but also like because of her. Like, I feel like she's paved the way for a lot of artists, like up and coming, and like when we're kind of older, like those newer artists. Like, I feel like she's just like done so much and like proven that like women can do it. Like, just made history truly. And like I just think it's going to be so different. Like, the music industry is just so different because of her, like in the best way.
Yeah. I mean, in a kind of negative way, actually, a lot of recording companies or like studios, whatever it is that you call them in the music world, they're now saying that artists are not going to be allowed to re-release their albums because of the success of Taylor's version. But I hope with that, they work something into future artist contracts or current artist contracts so that artists are not in the position that they have to re-record their music.
Right. That part.
That's what I think is important, right? Because you can say, no, you can't re-record your music and take it back. But if it's already mine, I'm not going to be doing it in the first place.
Right. It's the reason why she had to even do it.
Yes. So hopefully, those are the things that evolve with time. And I do think Taylor, she's just, it's crazy to think how much history we thought she was making in not even 2017, in 2009 when we first discovered Taylor Swift, in 2006 when we listened to our song and had the lyrics on our binder. Like, we didn't know then what we know now, but we thought that she was huge. And then you're in this position now and you look back and you're like, holy freaking heck, holy heck. But then it's also nice because you're like, I've been there the whole time.
Yeah.
So it's
cool. This is like a thought I've had. It's kind of related, but like, because of Eras Tour and like just the whole nature of that tour, like, do you think that let's say she releases TS11, like, do you think she would do a tour, just for like one album like she has before? Or like, how do you think that will just, I don't know, how do you think Eras Tour may affect her future tours?
Okay, that's a good question. I think it has to do with the genre of TS11, right? If we have a TS11 that's more ethereal and woodsy and what's that word? What's the Maggie Rogers genre of music,
Mm-hmm.
folk, like
Mm-hmm.
like a place where folklore and Evermore kind of fit in, then I think she'll toggle with some folklore and Evermore songs, bring those in, right? But if TS11 is a complete pop banger, I think she's going to be playing Midnight, and maybe you'll get like Cruel Summer, like you'll get her biggest pop hits now. I think we're truly laying the Love Story, You Belong With Me, that kind of music to rest with the Eras tour, because like
Okay.
already with Reputation, it almost felt like it was added because those were her biggest hits of all time. Now we have the Eras Tour, which is a celebration of everything, and we're enjoying it. And we're enjoying it to like the fullest extent, right? Like almost 2 years of tour, the movie, all of it. I think it's time that she like lays, not I think it's time, but I think she thinks it's time we lay those to rest. And then as her career continues to evolve, she'll pick up the newer stuff that she's done. So like Cruel Summer will now take the spot of like what once was You Belong With Me, Love Story, that kind of thing. Does that
Right.
make sense? But then
Okay.
also according to genre
Okay.
of what the album will be.
So tell me if I'm wrong. Are you saying like she might have like a album specific tour, but bring in like mashups like how she used to do, and it'll be mashups with more recent songs? Or are you still thinking sort of like eras but newer eras?
I don't think it'll be eras. I think
Okay.
I mean, we've been going to Taylor Swift concerts forever, right? And she's very much always done the one album tour, Reputation Stadium tour, Speak Now Stadium tour, like that kind of thing. So I think she'll do that, but she never missed out on playing what she knows that the crowd wants to hear. So that's why I'm saying like it just goes back to the genre. Like if TS11, let's just call TS11 Woodmore, I don't know, like one of those, right? Then she'll sing like one folklore song and one Evermore song on the piano. Doesn't
Okay.
necessarily have to be a mashup, but it fits in with the aesthetic.
I hear you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you agree? I mean, you don't have to agree.
No, I think I agree. I was just wondering if you think she'd ever go back to just like a one album tour.
Like you think you're saying that you think that the Eras tour might mean that it's always Eras forever.
I think she's saying like Reputation tour versus multi-album,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
standalone versus multi-album, like thinking like that.
But Reputation is still a single album with older songs, is what I'm saying. Like a new one album show could still have some songs just as long as they match the genre, and they're newer songs, is my point.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think, Sama?
I agree. I kind of giving like what I interpreted Lover Fest to be like, more than just standalone album concert. Yes, including like old hits, whatnot. I feel like the setup of Eras Tour might have changed the way we approach including old music into concerts for current albums, maybe making it a little bit more general, like adding the word fest or I don't know, I can't really think of another word for that right now. But you know what I mean? Something kind of like inclusive to other music. So yeah, I don't think the old stuff is going anywhere for now.
I just don't know if she'd go back to just like like Reputation Stadium tour after.
But I think what's gonna happen is that like Eras is the once in a lifetime Eras event. It's the one opportunity you get to see Taylor Swift play all her music, and I think that she's making that a fact with the way that she's approaching it. Like I don't think if it was that serious, she wouldn't have the almost 2 years, the concert film, whatever, because she wants everybody to see the culmination of all her eras. She's the biggest pop star right now. I think with time, she knows that that's probably gonna change. I mean, some people right now are truly in it for the hype of the Eras Tour and the hype of Taylor Swift. I think as we approach TS11, it's kind of gonna be those who don't want to continue this path that we're on are gonna fall off. and TS11 is going to go back to not where Taylor was in the Reputation era, but where the fandom was, a little more tight-knit, a little more, each other kind of thing. And that's why I think it's going to be one album versus the whole eras again.
I like that. Yeah.
Or like Bren said, if she focuses on a genre, like something more folk-like, and she does folk more, Evermore plus new album. Like, yes, Woodmore. She could create something new, like a chapter. Like, we're going to tour this chapter of
I love that.
Of the discography, and it's going to be this vibe, this theme. If it's something more poppy, we're going to tour and it could include the ones that never got their individual attention, right? So if it's more poppy, lovey, we'll get the Lover Fest that we never had, this plus that. So maybe she'll play around with it and create something new. Who knows?
I think it really just does depend on the genre of TS11 and like the approach, because truly I think eras happen because of the pandemic and the way that things happen, and Taylor Swift had put out so many albums, and she kind of talks about that a little bit. But I think if we remove all of that, we remove Folklore and Evermore happening, don't kill me, I'm just removing them because I'm saying in a world where the pandemic doesn't exist. So she puts out Lover, and then let's say her next album was Midnights. I think Midnights could have totally had its own tour. The Midnights tour would have been fantastic. I mean, there are plenty of songs. She could have brought in just old songs the way that she has done it before. I think we got eras because of the time that she is in her life and where she is in her career and everything that's happened. But I do think that she will go back to the way that she has always toured, because it also changes the way, because eras was so vast, it changed the way that production happened. She downsized almost on the types of stage shows that she used to have. I can totally see her going back to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think with that kind of wraps up the episode. A good little debate on what's going to happen. I think we'll also include a poll maybe about how we think TS11 tour is going to be, if it's going to be like a culmination of multiple eras or just an album tour. But that pretty much wraps up this week's episode of the T Swift Sisters podcast. Before we log off, please, please, please remember to follow our podcast on your listening platform by clicking the plus button next to our show and give us a rating. Or if you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, give us a comment. Because you're watching on YouTube, you can't participate in our audio polls. So just go ahead and write your answer in the comments below. We'll totally interact with you. Love to see that. Follow us on social media for live TS news updates and so much more. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at T Swift Sisters Pod, or Twitter at T Swift Sisters. Thanks so much for savoring this week's Swift Scoop. We hope you've had your fill of all things Taylor Swift, and we'll see you next week right here on the T Swift Sisters podcast. Bye.